Yeah. Going. I think.
Hi, Randy. Hi, Larry.
I think you're live.
All right, brother. Thank you. Good. Have a good.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Paul. What's up?
Oh, it's working?
Paul got the number one spot.
Oh, wow. Good.
Well done. Well done.
Okay, good.
I'm waiting for.
Oh, Paul's Sunday cannot be wrong anymore.
It was funny yesterday when Tony was like, "Your track record is better than his." Batman, Tommy, Tisha.
Look at this. You get the all the people coming.
All right, Slim.
Yep.
I like it.
Good.
My cat's balls. That's the name of the YouTube person.
My cat's balls.
My cat's balls. Nice.
So you have your balls with you then, right?
Cat's balls.
Or your cat's balls.
It's a big cat though.
Yeah.
You gotta have the Tiger King.
Yeah.
Are you watching that stuff?
No, but you told me about it.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're
It's a weird freaking show, man. It's crazy. Well, you're going up there.
My
It's going
Instagram
good.
is doing dedicated Nicholas dedication.
This is my stretch. Okay, I don't think so.
My Instagram is having issues. Let's start rolling our foot while I'm figuring out what my Instagram is doing. It's not saying it's connected yet. How's everyone doing on this fantastic Sunday? Let me get my flexibility points. Does anyone else use an Apple Watch to track their stuff? So I put it as a flexibility workout. Oh, my Instagram doesn't want to connect again. Okay, let's try this. Are you working? Let me just go out of it and then go back again. Whoa, Instagram, what are you doing to me? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me swipe Instagram away and let's start again. There, live. Go live. Okay. Keep rolling your foot. Had a few times where my Instagram wants to take the day off. Okay, it looks like it's good now. All right, and if you guys can get a towel too, that would be amazing. Remember, with your foot, you're pressing down, then rolling all along. So get a towel or something. If you have some sort of band, something where you can have your hands about this way. So get that for later as well. Ooh, feet are tight. How's your guys' bodies feel after this week? Forced myself to take 2 days off. 2 days of rest. It's challenging for me to take 2 days off, but I know I needed it too. I had that knot. I woke up with a knot on Thursday, and I had the Theracane, and I was trying to work on it in between rounds, and rolled on my balls a lot on it, and put some topicals. I did Receptra topical, and then I have this awesome Tiger Balm from Thailand too. That's like really cool. It like makes your skin red. It totally like burns and tingles, like, you know, like icy hot too. But so I did like a combination of those, and it felt a lot better. And then last night I was sort of like self-massaging. I could still feel like the knot, but I can't feel it. Like on Thursday, anytime I moved my head, I could feel it. So that was way better after I did all those things multiple times on Thursday. Grab your fingers. But yeah, I was like, okay, maybe. And then a few people told me, they were like, what do you think about taking some rest? When do you take some rest? Because I like to do my strength training stuff later too, later on in the day, except on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, that's enough. So I was like, okay, you know what? I think my body's telling me I need a little bit of extra rest Take 2 fingers at a time and you're pulling them back. Because, again, we want to undo. We're constantly gripping, making a fist. And also if you're lifting, you're doing a lot of that too as you're gripping things. So we want to undo that motion and stretch our hand in the opposite direction. 2 fingers at a time. Whew. Hope everyone is feeling well. I've been looking forward to a full hour of recovery. So excited. And I have some new stuff for you guys too. Okay, neck. Let's take and put one hand behind your back. Other hand, we've done this before, gently pull your neck to the side. We're going to go at different angles with this. Say, gently to the side, and now kind of look down at an angle, like towards your armpit. Just feel its muscles in a different way. Some good guys back there that like to get tight on me. They're very tight. You can kind of see like this. Look, is super, super tight. Like it's not, it's not soft and pliable like muscle should be, even though I do try to stretch my neck a lot. And then kind of look down a little bit more. Different sets of muscles in this area. Sternocleidomastoids, say that one 5 times fast. Scalenes, all kinds of things that I know would love to get tight on me and might have contributed to that lovely knot that I ended up with on Thursday. Let's switch this around. And you can do this standing or kneeling. If you don't have something super soft to kneel on, then it may not feel so great to do kneeling. Let's see some comments. Say, been doing this workout, kicks, then the afternoon weight work. Oh, nice. Yeah, Paul's hitting it hard too. David, so glad you love the workout. Recovery, Jimmy, you're welcome. Switch, look down a little bit towards your armpit. Hi, Liverpool. We will keep up the good work. Gavin, hey, what's up? Keith, great stretch. Yes, there's so many. And there's a ton of stuff. Hi, James. There's a ton of stuff online. Hi, how do I say that? Hi, Sass. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Hello, thank you for being here. Look down a little bit more. Just mix up these angles. Just like with your weight training, doing things in different planes or at different angles is always a good idea. You know, sometimes we tend to get stuck doing things in the same plane. Like say, I don't know, say if we pick an isolated thing like a bicep curl. Mix it up, you know, angle things in different ways, change up your hand position, change up your foot position. So many different ways to mix things up. Okay, let's get some pec work in here, shall we? If you guys have, I'm going to use one that's out of the little thing. If you guys have your homemade, either your homemade 2 tennis balls, or if you have a single one, let's open up our pecs. Always challenged because I don't have good wall space here. Or at least I'm going to turn this. Hi, Steven. How are you? Your kettlebell workouts. Hi, Italy. Roberto. Okay, so we're going to use this ball and we're going to use the wall to get into our pecs because those get really tight too with our fighting stance. Where we want to be when we're fighting is not where we want to be in life. This fighting posture, please don't walk around like that in life because it's actually horrible for our regular posture. because we don't want our shoulders rolled in. And I can, speaking from experience, that's how I used to walk around in life, and that's how I ended up with so many postural issues. What it ended up culminating in was my fingertips being numb all the time. So not fun. So we're going to use the wall to press and just get all around here in these pecs. And we're going to add in some movement with the arm. Can you guys see as well as you can? Okay. So you're pressing on your pecs. And you can hold a spot and then move the arm around. And it's just kind of a different way to massage that muscle. Of course, we can move our body with the ball along the wall, but also holding still and moving your arm just gives a different feel factor. So it's all different ways to self-massage and release things. What I'll also do with clients is I'll put a block on the wall so they're not quite so like right up against the wall. So they have a little bit more space from the wall. Let's switch sides. But the block, of course you have to make sure that the ball is staying on the block that's against the wall. But it just is a little more, gives you a little more space so you're not right up close and personal with that wall. Hold still, move the arm around. And there's no specific pattern or order that you have to do things in. Just find where you feel like I'm on this spot right here, my right side, and I can feel the tingle going down to my hand. So that tells me that that part of the pec is probably really tight. So I'm gonna hold it for a little bit longer. So it's all about learning to feel what your body needs is huge. So giving your body what it needs, recognizing it, feeling it, that's massive. And believe it or not, things like tight pecs can lead to shoulder pain or can lead to back pain. I mean, everything's connected. So it's crazy that something that's tight here might affect down by my opposite side ankle or something like that, because there's so many cross patterns in the body and just everything is connected. So if one muscle is tight, it's gonna affect a lot of things, and those things could be very distant from where we actually feel the pain. Let me see what I want next. Okay. We've done these in door frame a lot, door frame openers. Let's use a wall now. So now I'm just gonna put my hand on the wall. Let's go lower with this height. And which foot is up front first, compared to which hand is on the wall? Again, variable. Like clients ask me that a lot, which foot is supposed to be up front when I'm doing a certain side. And it's not really about a supposed to be thing, because you can vary it up. I'll tell them, I'll be like, whichever, either one, mix it up, do what feels best to you at the time. If you feel unstable having a certain leg forward with that hand on the wall, then just switch it. And another thing to add in here, again, just to give a different feel factor, is while we're holding that pec stretch, drive your pelvis into different ranges of motion too. So just move your pelvis, and it's just going to, again, have a different feel factor on that pec stretch as we're doing it. So feel free to play around and experiment with a lot of these things. That was something that, because I would do the same thing, a lot of my journey and why I got so into functional movement versus bodybuilding type movement, because I loved bodybuilding at the beginning. But when I realized what my body was doing inappropriately, when I didn't realize how my posture was, I'm going to turn my back to you guys to do this side. my physical therapist, because I would ask the same thing. Like, well, how am I supposed to do it? What's supposed to be where? And he's like, it's not really about that. And it took me a long time to learn to feel what my body needed, and to like kind of, yes, I have he gave me a lot of guidelines, but to kind of put my own recipe into it, so to speak, tweak my own recipe. So drive your pelvis just in small movements while you're opening up those pecs on that side. Opening up the chest, because everything happens in front of us, right? We're hunched over things. We're in here fighting, right? So that's, as we were just talking about, that's the posture that we don't want to have in everyday life. But also when you're driving, texting, reading on the computer, it's that same posture where, no matter how good you try to start out with good posture, eventually over time, if we stay in that position, most of us are eventually going to end up hunching. So opening up your chest, getting things realigned so that pecs don't just sit here in this tightened position is super important for our current way of life. Okay, we're going to chicken wing. So still staying with the chest. Just have your fingertips lightly on the back of your head. Let's have nice tall posture here, and bring your elbows together and then open them up. What would have been cool would have been to do this first as a test, and then do the pec ball release and the pec wall / door frame opener, and then do this and see if we have further range of motion. You want, if you guys can see, or if you ever want to have fun and do a little self-experiment, do this before and then do the two that we just did and see if you get further range of motion. If I come to the side, we want a nice range of motion. I want my elbows to be able to open up at least in line with my body. If you're stuck here and you can't go any further than that, then recognize that, be aware of that, and work more on opening up these pecs, because trust me, from personal experience, that leads to crap over time. And it also, when things are abnormally tight or abnormally elongated, that could be two ends of the spectrum, makes you more prone to injury. So the cool thing is, the more that things can move and be mobile and return to their normal lengths, you're going to be less prone to injury, or at least not as severely injured as you otherwise would have gotten. Okay, we're going to move you guys again. We're going to come down to the ground with our two little balls. Knowledge is the best defense, Brian. I love it. I love it. You're so sweet. Louie, thank you. I try to be very cool. I have to try to keep up with Bas Rutten. Like, geez, that's some big shoes to fill, right? Okay, if you guys have them, if you don't have them, try to make some ASAP and just try to maybe find something around the house. But hopefully you have, even if your tennis balls or lacrosse balls or whatever, even if they're not taped together, it's okay. This will still work. Let's come to laying down on the ground. And yeah, you guys should be able to see me there. We're going to come down our back, and we're going to add some arm movement into this. You know what? Let's start on our head a little bit. I do like to start there. So let's start up here and using the ground. Okay, so it's right there, sort of in the middle of your head, where if you were holding someone in the clinch, that's where you would want to hold. And if you need to hold it there, if it's going to slip off your head, that's fine. You can hold it with your hands. And we're going to shake our head no. Go to the two ends of the spectrum. I like to hold it at one end for a little bit. And just kind of see if you feel anything more on one side versus the other. And then yes. So we're saying, going through the full end as far as you can, no, and yes. How's everyone doing? And I know I asked questions and obviously I'm not like seeing the answers right now, but as I think you guys do know by now, I like to try to go back and answer all the comments. How are you guys all feeling with the lockdown situation? Come down a little bit more. I had a couple FaceTime sessions yesterday, and one woman, I felt so badly for her. She's just like, I just feel depressed for the state of the world. And so we talked about, that's what prompted me to do the live yesterday. I like to have things like give me inspiration, and then I feel like if one person is having that struggle, most likely a lot more are too. So we talked about trying to change your energy state when you're in that level, and try to do something to switch your energy state, come down a little bit further so you're kind of on the back of your neck. And since I have different sets of balls, I use a bigger one here because I do like it to get in a little bit more, but it can still work with the one set that you guys have. To still doing our yes and our no. So changing your vibrational state, getting up, moving, jumping around, doing whatever you might need to do to change your state is huge. We talked about that. And I was just on a call listening to a coach because I love using coaches and continuing to learn as much as I can. Now let's come down. We're going to slowly come down our back, starting here. We're going to do some movements with our arms, but we're going to have these balls follow along, coming down our back till about mid-back. So that's where we're going with that. So I had also, so it was very interesting how I was on a call with the coach, and she talked about that, and then my client talked about it, so I was able to give her some new information too that I had just learned. Felt like it was not straight. So it's very cool that energy is flowing. So as I'm here, I'm kind of moving from side to side, just getting more massaging on that back. And now let's make some snow angels. Try to feel. So again, depending on if pecs are really tight, your hands may not be able to stay along the ground. And notice that. If your hands are up, or say if they start here, but then they come and they're up off the ground, that could be, there could be other things that are tight, but that could be a symptom of pecs being very tight, and so they're not allowing your arms to open up. Just notice that, and we'll work towards, trying to get them open. Another thing to pay attention to down here is while the back of your hands are grazing along the ground with these snow angels, what is your low back doing? Is your low back able to stay in contact with the ground too? Or do you have to kind of compensate with your back to get your hands on the ground? So those are just all little things to pay attention to. Let's move the balls down, and the easiest way to move them down is to just slide your body up on them a little bit. So you should feel them right between your shoulder blades. This is where also my body loves to get knots, right in between there. And there's some deep muscles in between the shoulder blades that are really important for posture, called rhomboids. So getting those guys released, and also using them in workouts too is really good for posture. And just feel like your hands may graze the ground differently when we're releasing different spots. Also get some of that side to side motion. Hopefully this is feeling good to everyone, and it might be a combination of feeling good and hurting. make sure, come down a little bit, roll yourself up a little bit. Make sure you're staying true to your body as far as if something is hurting, but you know it's that good hurt, like it's releasing, versus if it's a bad hurt where it's just like, okay, this is something, it's not right. Like, don't force through if it really doesn't feel right. If it's excruciating pain that you know is making you like hold your breath, which you don't want to do, things like that. Please don't force through really bad pain. Same thing with your workouts. There's good pain where the muscles are fatiguing and they're working, and there's excruciating bad pain. We don't want excruciating bad pain. It's not worth it. So feel that this spot right here feels really, really tight, really sore. Come down again. Ooh, just got a little, love it when I get a little crack. So this, like to me, this just feels so good coming down your back, right along, so your spine is like right in the middle of where the two balls are. Come down again, and your back should feel, by the time we're done with this, your back should feel a lot better, hopefully, very opened up. And then that static back position, I haven't showed you guys it in a couple weeks. I'm going to try to remember to do that at the end because that position is just amazing. When I come up from this, I actually don't like to just force myself up, especially since we try to release our neck a little bit and strain my neck. So I like to help myself up by putting at least one hand on the back of my head and coming up with some help, or just come off it from the side. And that's another thing that physical therapists, taught me too when getting out of bed, that like there's already so many things that we do that strain our neck. So getting up from the ground or getting up out of bed, he was like, don't get up, just pulling up and feeling that strain in your neck. Turn over and push yourself up and out. So that's something that always stuck with me, I've always remembered. Now we're going to release muscles in this area that are part of the rotator cuff. Teres minor is a big one that likes to get really tight on me. So we're kind of below this armpit, and we're going to lay on our side and get some of these guys released. Your legs can be, however, if you want them stacked, if you want them offset, and let's kind of roll. Oh, there's a spot. Let's kind of roll forward and then a little bit back. So it's all about just using different motions to get this self massage. We can sound really cool and say to our friends, yeah, I did my fascial release session this morning, and then, you get some brownie points for sounding really cool. So just get in, oh, this is tight. And I think it's also this shoulder still doesn't quite feel normal from that snowboarding fall that I talked to you guys about that I had. Like, that's my memory. It's sticking with me since I didn't get to finish my winter season. But what I am grateful for is I think I would have been hurt a lot more if I didn't do as much mobility stuff. So grateful that I'm not hurt a lot more and I can still do my stuff. Let's go to the other side. It's just, I can still feel it there. What else do I want to do? Oh, yeah. Okay. To the other side. So again, we're kind of right where below the armpit, but on the back side a little bit. Getting some of these rotator cuff muscles. Let's see. Be curious this side compared to the right side. Yeah, it's tight, but not quite as That is the right side. And then if you guys have specific questions about things, I do love answering questions, and if I don't know the answer, just like how Bas was talking yesterday at the Q&A, that when he asked that one coach, why is it always like this and not the other way? And he was like, I don't know. So, okay, now I found the spot. Never mind, this spot feels the same as on the other side. If I don't know the answer, which there's a lot of things I don't know the answer to, then I'm like, cool, this gives me something else to research. I'm such a nerd. I could literally spend like many, many hours looking stuff up. I just think and there's so much stuff. Like it's like always going to be a student in learning, because you can't possibly know it all. And there's always new stuff too, right? Like things can get disproven, things can get, always new things. And then there's always the individual factor. So what might be great and perfect for one person is horrible for another person. There's so many individual factors. Okay, we're going to use these on our piriformis. So piriformis is a muscle that gets very tight from sitting. It's deep to the glutes, so we're going to be in the area of our butt, but we're going to be technically getting to a deeper muscle. So we're just going to use this, and let's just kind of sit on it. Most of my clients, I have them do this with a foam roller, which is cool, and a little bit easier because it's longer. I'll show you the difference quickly. But the balls actually can get in there quite a bit deeper. If you guys do ever get a chance to get a foam roller, I use a foam roller pretty much every day as well. So this is how we're getting into it with the foam roller. So I'm getting into that same area just with balls. Foam roller is also really great for doing chest opening things on when you're laying lengthwise. So this piece of equipment is something I would definitely recommend to you. Or even that, I've also used that other one, that Intelli roll that has like the divot in the middle. That's awesome too. I use a lot of stuff most days. Since the balls are a little bit smaller, I'm gonna come down on my elbow. And I do like to cross one ankle over one knee. I feel like it gets in there deeper. So then the leg that is crossed, that's the side we're leaning towards and getting into that piriformis a little bit deeper. And because we've just released our chest, let's try to keep our chest open. So let's try to not be caved in and hunched over down here. Let's try to keep our chest nice and open so we can reap the benefits of our newly released pec muscles. And you can just kind of move and massage in here. If this is hurting or tight, know that that's normal. I can feel a little kind of like tingle going down to my foot a little bit too. The sciatic muscle runs through here, which most of us have heard of sciatica, so that can be part of what's going on there. Not that you have it, but just that nerve runs through there. Okay, let's switch sides. And the orientation where you put, and you can also do this with just one as well. Just one works, even just one larger one works too. I'll do this side with just one. So many different ways to do it. I'm gonna come back down to my elbow, cross this ankle. Ooh, it's more intense with this one. Oh yeah. That's a little bit more. So what else is everyone doing today? Are you guys taking a full rest day each week too? This is more intense. I hope you are. because rest is super important. And also, interestingly enough, when you're resting, if this is your goal, if you want any hypertrophy or muscle gain, when you're resting and when you're sleeping, that's actually when that's happening, not while you're doing the workout. So rest is big. Okay, let's come off of here. Yeah, that was more intense with just one. All right. Oh, I need a little, if you guys have a chair or a couch or something like that, please go have that handy. We're going to use that next. After, let's do a little bit of threading the needle. So now that our chest is opened up, our back is opened up, let's come down to, let's do this one kneeling. We can do this one in different locations or in different body positions. Let's do this kneeling, so we'll have one forearm on the ground. This other arm, I'm gonna open up, so you should feel kind of a nice spinal stretch too in the low back. Open up as far as you can. Hopefully the pecs are open, so you can get perpendicular to your body. And then as you're threading the needle, kind of pull your core in and come across with that arm and reach through. Open up, reach through, pulling that core up while you're reaching through. Open up, let's do two more. Reach through. And my breathing, I'm just kind of keeping it steady. Open up. This is a big Pilates move too, reach through. From side plank, which is much more work. We're using it more as a stretch, but it's much more work if you guys are curious before we go to the other side. In side plank, what it looks like is you're here, and then you're threading the needle, raising your body up, coming through, coming back to side plank. So it's actually, it's a fun, really good core workout. Other side, forearm on the ground, open up, and feel that your back, we're getting that rotational piece too, which of course is really big for us with boxing, isn't it? Kickboxing, MMA, we need that rotation, so we need that flexibility in our back. Most of it is coming from the upper back. The upper back is the part that is mobile, the thoracic spine. Two more. And if you feel differences from one side to the other, that's totally normal. Just notice that and feel it. Last one. I think someone had a question, but you know what? I didn't see it in the comments. Here's something that's kind of odd to me, and I haven't quite figured it out. I like to go back through as most of you guys know, through the comments in Facebook. Later on, all the awesome comments that you guys put. And when I see a cool question and I'm like, oh, I want to go back and answer that later. Someone asked about asymmetries. What do you do about asymmetries? And it just popped into my head, and I was like, I didn't see the question when I went back and looked at the Facebook questions yesterday. So if the person is watching that asked that, please post that again, and I'm going to see if I can find it. I'm going to go I forgot a little stool. We're going to do some thoracic extensions, but here's where you need either your chair or a couch or just something that we can put our elbows on. So I will be right back. Sorry, I forgot that. Okay. But asymmetries are, unfortunately, very normal. I still have them too, as much as I try to get rid of them. Can't quite fully get rid of them, but I think the general consensus from community of people that are much smarter than me is that most of us are always going to have some sort of asymmetry, no matter what. So if that helps, I have not. So here's what we're doing: we're putting our elbows here, and thoracic extension, meaning I want my back from here to here to lengthen as much as possible. So we're going to gently kind of allow our hips to drop and feel that lengthening of our back. And then come up out of it a little bit. Feel your lats stretching. Let's do this several times. This is a little higher than I would ideally like it, but still works. Back up. So where was I going with this? Oh, seems that, like, have you guys ever heard of, someone might say, oh, okay, well, if your left arm's weaker than your right arm, then do more reps or do higher weight on the left arm. I feel like everything I've read and researched, that is not recommended. So, for whatever that's worth. Doesn't mean it's always wrong, doesn't mean, but for whatever that's worth, I haven't seen that as a general recommendation to try to get rid of the asymmetries. If anyone else has any feedback on that, I'm always open to suggestions. I love hearing more suggestions. Let's do one more from other people. And maybe people have done that and it's worked great for them, which is awesome, and which just goes back to we're all individuals. Okay, let's do a hip stretch series. We're gonna come down to the ground. Yeah, I think we can see. Yeah, I think we can see here. Just put that down here. It's not gonna. The first couple stretches, they're not gonna feel like a whole lot. We're stretching our glutes / piriformis. It's not gonna feel like an intense stretch, and that's okay. And it's not meant to. I'm gonna lay down. Put one heel above the opposite knee, reaching across, so I don't have the same side arm as the leg that is bent. Reach across, gently pull the knee towards straight back, basically towards like your chin. So the heel needs to stay touching above the knee. Don't lift it off to try to get more of an intense stretch. That's not the point that we're after here. We want this to be a nice, gentle stretch on the back of the hip. And the other arm can just kind of stay wherever you want it. Just hold that. Just do your deep breathing. Ooh, I forgot to do our 4-7-8 breathing. I was actually going to show you guys box breathing. Maybe we'll do that at the end. And what else do I want to do at the end? I want to do static back at the end. Now, pull the knee a little bit more across towards the opposite shoulder. So now, if I were first pulling the knee straight back, now I'm just angling it slightly towards the opposite shoulder. So you just feel a little, again, it's not intense. And this ankle stays this heel stays above the leg. Not an intense stretch. This was actually prescribed to me by my physical therapist as well. It will never feel, I shouldn't say never, to me, in my body, it doesn't feel like an intense stretch for the hips, but it is accomplishing what we want it to accomplish by just gently stretching the glutes, bringing them back to ideal length, helping to do that over time. The third part, so the leg that was bent, put that on the ground, cross the other leg on top so that both knees are bent. We're pulling our legs to the side. How can I best explain this without sounding confusing? Towards the side of the leg that's on top. So my right leg is on the bottom, my left leg is on top. We're going to pull our legs towards the left side. It's not wrong to go the other way also to get a spinal stretch, but specifically for this series, we want to go to the side of the leg that's on top. So my left leg is on top, so my legs are coming to the left side. Just go as far as you can. Don't force it. You don't have to try to touch the ground. But what we're also trying to do in this position is I'm trying to elongate my body. So I'm trying to pull my knees down towards the opposite side of the room and bring my torso. I'm elongating my back, bring my head and my torso towards the other side of the room. So just try to feel that length. Make yourself as long as you can here. Hopefully that makes sense. It's also why I wanted to do the kneeling thoracic extensions first, so you can kind of get your back elongated. And let's just breathe gently into this. This to me feels really good. Sometimes when my right hamstring is acting up, it feels really tight. Like last night, actually, when I did this, even though I didn't work out yesterday, I could feel it in my right hamstring where I have that area of tightness that I battle with trying to get it released. And I also like to look towards the opposite direction. So my legs are going to the side. I like to look towards the right. But that elongational piece is huge. So I will face you guys. Actually, hold on. Stay where you are. Just lift your ground a little bit. So if I'm here and here, by elongating, I'm not here. I'm not in a crunch or shortened position. I'm trying to make myself as long as I can. Okay, now when we come up out of it nice and gentle, nice and slow. You're set up for the other side, meaning the leg that's on top. Now that heel is going to be above that knee. Opposite hand is reaching and pulling the knee just straight back towards your chin. It's a very gentle stretch on the glutes / piriformis. I feel a little bit on my low back too because it's we do the single knee hugs. Feel some of that too. What time am I working with? 48. So feels good. Getting things back to their proper length, hopefully. And obviously a lot of these things can be over time. Try to make sure, I would recommend doing some stretching movement, releasing first thing in the morning, even before you do the workouts. And then I love to do some at night, even in an off day, before I go to bed. Now bring that knee towards the opposite shoulder, still keeping the heel above the planted leg or the down leg knee. Just feel a little bit of a different stretch. It's very minor, the movement, but you just feel a little bit of a different stretch in the hips / glutes. And then always let your back relax. Like I can actually feel more in my left low back. That's another, I don't know if you guys have like certain areas that kind of always are a little, like there's always a little something there. For me, it's left low back. Lately, it's been right hamstring, the very top, like the origin of my right hamstring has just been a thorn in my side no matter how much I try to do. And then the Thursday knot, that was an isolated thing, but yeah. But prompted me to make myself take 2 days off. Even though I really wanted to throw around my kettlebells yesterday, I didn't. Okay, so now I'm planting, so that leg that was just on top, I'm planting that leg on the ground, crossing over the other leg, which for me is now my right leg, dropping my knees to my right, and making myself long. I'm going to face up this way a little bit. So making myself long. Actually, hold on, I'm going to face all the way over here. Pulling my knees towards one side of the room and trying to just feel like I'm elongating and aiming the top of my head towards the other side of the room. I know it can be a tricky visual, but just try to feel like you're long. Long versus crunched in. You can feel more in my left low back. Feel in a good way, though, not in a bad way, but I can feel that area of tightness. Whereas when I was on the other side, because my right low back isn't problematic, it just felt like a good stretch. Whereas it just feels different. And then just breathe into that. And doing some morning breathing on your own too, along with movement, getting some deep breaths in there, or if you ever need to relieve anxiety, or if someone ticks you off before you say something back to them, take some deep breaths. It's better to calm yourself versus regret things later, isn't it? Okay, gently come out of that. All right, hopefully that should feel good. Coming up in a safe way. Let me see what I want to do next. Oh yes, the broken frog stretch. Okay, let's have one leg up here. Kind of come down. We're moving more into the hip portion. I realized 51. I realized I forgot to do what I wanted to do with the towel. Just kind of come down. Could either be actually, let's come up. Let's come up here. So it's almost like a side lunge stretch too. Just getting these inner thighs, these adductors, side of the hip open up. Trying to keep your back flat. And when we talk about keeping back flat, I'm going to come sideways to you guys. When your back is flat, your chest should be open. And this is something that might be hard to see in yourself. So the importance of trying to feel your body too. When my back is flat and my chest is open, it's encouraging good posture versus our fighting posture when my back is rounded and my chest is closed. So you can see from the front, stay in your position, chest closed, chest open. When my shoulders are pulled back, I can feel my lats on a little bit, engaged a little bit. Then I'm drilling in my good posture. Let's switch sides. So think about that when you're doing things that this is a good, Stephen, when you're talking about your posture and the side lunge to row, the video that I did on, I don't remember what day, on a day recently. Maybe Friday? Maybe Friday. This is the posture you want to have. So you want to have your chest open. You want to have your back engaged, especially when you're exercising. But that all requires muscles to not be overly tight, to be released, to be open, which is why it's so important to do recovery things every day, especially if you feel like things are tight, or like if you can't get your arms overhead, things like that can be pointing out tightnesses. Feeling the adductors here on the inside of the thigh. Now let's come up and let's just push open a little bit with our elbows. So hold this, I'll be right back. Oh my gosh, where does the time go? Okay, let's do a 90-90 that I also found from the founder of the FMS, Functional Movement System. We're going to have our legs at a 90-degree angle and a 90-degree angle, so 90-90. I'm first going to drive my chest over the front leg, trying to keep that flat back that we just talked about. These ones I really feel because I still have some pretty significant hip tightnesses. Try to keep your feet in a flexed position versus pointed. That flexed position actually makes it more comfortable for the knee. So drive your chest as far as you comfortably can. Like I feel huge restriction. Like what's stopping me is kind of right on one of my hamstrings. Trying to keep your chest open and your back flat, just as a reminder. Sorry if I sound like a broken record. Like I'm saying the same stuff over and over. It's funny how Bas talks about that too. He goes, don't you guys love it when he gets all like worked up about stuff? Like yesterday with the O2 trainer. He got all excited about it. Oh, it's 56, I'm running out of time. Now we're gonna try to angle. I really can't go very far in this direction over the rear leg. Now I'm driving, you can see I'm like barely moving. This is stretching the hip capsule of the rear leg. When we were going, when we were angling over the front leg, that was actually getting a little more, the smaller muscle in the butt called the gluteus minimus. So just go to where you can. You can see I can't move very far over this rear leg. And I don't even know that, I don't know. I mean, I guess there are, yes. Never mind, just answer my own question. There are some people that probably can lay down here. I am not one of them, as you can clearly see. But I really like this series, and it's something I've been trying to do daily because I can see that I can hardly get some movement in certain areas, but I did do a live video about this too. It's on my page if you guys don't want to come back and go through this whole thing to try to remember it. So now what I'm doing, I'm going to pivot to the other side, coming up onto the toes of my back leg. Try to have your hands off the ground. Coming up on the toes of my back leg, opening up that knee as far as you can. I'm going to come over here because that's a little bit of an odd angle. So let me come back from here. So if I was 90-90, coming up on the toes, opening up, trying to open up this knee as far as I can. I do feel a little bit skewed. This knee is down a little bit closer to the ground, but not like on the ground. And this one, like I could try to force it with my elbow, but just go to where you can. And he called this one a bear sit, which I thought was kind of cute. So I'm going to resist the urge. I want to like push it open and be like, go, knee, go. But we won't do that. I'll just go to where I can. And I would like to put my arms behind me on the ground, but I won't do that either. And then keep going with it, and let's transition to the other side. That's pretty intense, surprisingly. Like when I first, I watched the video, I was like, oh, that doesn't look that bad. And then when I went to do it, I was like, okay, got it. Now I see why this is so good. Clearly, my body needs it if there's that many tightnesses and restrictions. So angle over your chest, keeping chest open, flat back over the front knee, or the front leg rather, front thigh. I can go a little bit further with this leg. Where do we at? Oh my gosh, it's 59. Where does the time go? Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, rear leg. Knees popping up all over the place. What did I'm probably gonna go, well, I'm clearly gonna go a couple minutes over because it's like already gonna be 11 o'clock. All right, I'll pick, okay, we'll do the, okay, I'll just pick a couple more hip ones. Hips are always, you know, a big question that, you know, what to do for tight hips? How do I get more hip mobility with what we're doing? You know, with MMA, hips are a big one. And even like, especially if you're doing groundwork too, like even more so. And now let's go into that bear sit. So coming up onto the toes of the rear leg. Come open up that knee as far as you can. Oh, this side feels a little more even in this direction. It still is a struggle, but a little bit more even. Hold that for a little bit, our little bear sit. And then, okay, I'm gonna do the seated. Okay, I'll do two more. And I'll talk about, so static back, that position that I think I did either the second or the third recovery day. Can't remember. Okay, let's come to sitting, ankle over knee, and then let's get a little bit of dynamic. These should feel kind of pretty good, especially since we got our hips moving a little bit. Just some dynamic movement here. So static back position, which I try to go into every day at some point. Sometimes I even take naps in it. I'll take a little power nap in it. So it's laying down on the ground and your legs are on either like something that's roughly the height of a couch. If you're tall, let's switch here. If you're tall, you may need to put like a pillow on top, couch, or like I use my ottoman as the perfect height for this. And you're basically just laying with your legs at a 90-degree angle, and it totally releases your back. And oh my gosh, it just feels so, it's the best back release ever. And it's so simple. So I'll show you guys briefly. I'm going to do one more thing. So this is too tall for me, but just so you get the premise of it, so if this is my ottoman that's at my correct height, your butt is up against the couch, and then you're just finding something where your legs are at a 90-degree angle. So my something would be this height. Hands down out to like a 45-degree, palms up, and make sure you're straight, so you're looking straight down the center of your knees. And hold that, stay in that position, like set a timer. Don't hold your phone because that causes internal rotation of the shoulders. Just sit there, think your gratitude thoughts or something good for 5 minutes. Oh, it's so good. Okay, last one, just a little bit of variation on the traditional frog stretch. So I'll come here, so my knees are wider than my hips. So this is the frog stretch, which is, I feel tightness here too, good for the hips, and then add in this piece where you bring up your foot, causes internal rotation of the hip joint, So just another little variation. And going back to also, you know, all of the other stuff I've given you, you can add your own little sprinkles of stuff to it. If you're doing something and you add a movement, and you know, you can add whatever. You can add movements with your torso, and you're like, oh man, that feels good. And like, do it. Like, add it. put your own little sprinkles on top, because what feels good for your body probably means your body needs it and wants it. So I hope you guys all have a fantastic Sunday. Let me look at, stop that one. Let me look at, hi, you're always here. How do you guys? Yilmaz, you're always here. I love it. Belgium. My stepdad is Belgian. So I've been to Belgium. I've had the fortunate opportunity to be there several times because my mom got married to my stepdad. He's her second husband. They got married in Belgium. And so the first time I went there, the guy in the back is El Guapo. The first time I went there, I was 16. That's when they got married. And then I've gotten to be able to go several other times. And I love it. They live, his family is in Obel. You're welcome, Tommy. Must be doing this transition to the bear sit wrong, as I'm not feeling any stretch or anything odd. Oh, interesting, Brian. Let's try to figure that out. You're welcome, Paul. Brian, did you check out my live? You might have seen it. Check out my live, see if, or yeah, let's figure out a way. Maybe you can send me a video or something, because I would like to help you with that, because I feel it like hugely. In Belgium, his family lives in Obel. I think I'm saying that right. Aubel. And I love it. It's like the cutest little town. I love Belgium. Everyone's super nice. Everything's so green. It's so different from California. Why is he standing back there like that? Bas and I were just talking about that people still comment. So it's a cutout of Bas. So it totally looks like a person, but it's just a cutout of Bas. You hear Bas is awake. Yeah, Bas is over here finishing up. So I better finish up. I hope you guys have a great day. And I will come back and go through the comments. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 for a new workout. Bye.